I knew we were tied. It's just I thought we was going to call timeout because I got the rebound.
I thought we were all aware of what was going on. I don't know what JR was thinking. I don't know his state of mind.
The finals, man, anything's liable to happen.
We got lucky.
I'll take it. We could have had that one.
Despite a 51-point performance from LeBron James.
To do what he did tonight and then come up robbed is just not right.
You take it all the way throughout the night, think about it, and ways you could have been better, and plays that happened that could have went your way, that didn't go your way, or things you could have did, and then you wake up tomorrow with a fresh mind and you move forward.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
That was a great walkout, by the way. Game 2 coming up, title series, ABC, Sunday night, Warriors with the 1 lead after that preposterous finish to Game 1 Thursday. Steph Curry made like 500 threes in a row. I'm serious. I saw it on Twitter. Cleveland putting in work on clock management, you would think, but most of the last couple days have been for mental therapy.
I expect us to come and play with the same grit that we had in Game 1. And, we made a lot of mistakes in Game 1. I expect us to be better. It was a tough 24 hours, not only for G Hill, but for myself, for our whole ball club, because we put ourselves in a great position to be successful. But like I said, give yourself a day. If you need to take 2 days, okay. But today you should feel excited about the opportunity to be better and be great, and move forward. One thing about JR, he has an uncanny ability to bounce back, and I think people have seen that throughout our postseason runs where he hasn't played well or played to his ability that he think he should have played, and then the next game he comes out and shoots the ball extremely well and just very locked in. And for me, I don't really have to. I don't think I need to say anything to JR. I mean, I've been knowing JR since he was in high school. I mean, it's not like he's a new teammate of mine or someone I just met. JR knows what I expect out of him, and he expects things out of me, and we just try to go get it done. I can only speak for me. I've learned how to laugh at the memes that come through. I learned, like, if it's like someone that's trying to, kill me in a fashion, to laugh at that too, because it's funny at times as well, and not take too much into it. I can't sit here and tell you how my teammates go about it, because at the end of the day, we all go to our separate homes after practice, and we all to our separate rooms when we're on the road. So I don't know how much scrolling goes on, but if I have some words of advice, if you're a part of it and it bothers you, then you probably should just delete it off your phone. That would be if it bothers you.
LeBron James there. He's merely playing in the NBA title series. We need to hear from someone who's actually covering the event. That's Brian Windhorst. Brian, he was rather comprehensive in talking about how he's worked through the process of the brutal loss in Game 1. What do you know about his character? You've covered him for so long, how he's going to get himself ready and get his teammates ready for Sunday's game.
Kenny, he was really trying to set a tone today because his teammates look for him to do that. In Game 1, especially after the end of regulation, after that bitter way that it ended, LeBron was really down in that huddle, and his teammates were looking to him for leadership and guidance, and his head was down. His head was out of the game a little bit, and you could tell it carried over onto the court in that overtime. And maybe the Warriors win it anyway, but the Cavs didn't put their best foot forward in that overtime. And so I think LeBron realizes that. He said he had a day to sort of mope around. The rest of the team did as well. He really wanted in this practice day to get them focused on Game 2. One of the things they're hearkening back to, Kenny, in 2015, they lost Game 1 in overtime and lost Kyrie Irving to a broken kneecap. Knew he was going to be out for the rest of the series. And they rallied as a unit and came back and got Game 2. And they're trying to take some lessons from that and bring them into tomorrow night.
So they've had a couple days to work over the mental process as far as inside the court. What do they have to do in Game 2 that might be slightly different than Game 1?
Well, it would really help if they could hit some three-pointers. They only shot 27% in Game 1. They are a team that is really heavily reliant on it. And to be honest with you, when you look back to the last series, they've been off their three-point game in 7 of the last 8 games. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. The Warriors are doing a very good job of rotating, but they frankly are getting good shots. They just have to knock them down. And in addition to just some strategic advantages and some strategic changes to defense, getting those three-pointers to go would give them a margin for error that they really need against this team.
All right, Brian, thank you. Enjoy Game 2. I'm sure we'll hear from you afterward.
The best player against the world against the best team in the world. We'll see who'll be the best in the series.
I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time.
Curry throws it up the rim. knocks it down. James is 6 for 6 to open this NBA final. Golden State has responded with 8 straight points. Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang! First half comes to an end in dramatic fashion.
The highest falling won't break me. Blood and sweat is what made me.
Green's going to line up a 3, and that one goes home. Curry for 3. Bang! Kevin Love from downtown. It's back to 1. Shot goes in for James. The lead for Cleveland.
Never look back. It's something standing in my way. I always push back.
They're changing it to a block. Feeling James was moving. George Hill, big free throws here. Rebound goes to the Cavs. J.R. Smith brings it back out. Hill shot blocked. And we'll go to overtime. J.R. Smith thought they had the lead. The Thompson corner 3. Puts it in. Golden State survives in overtime to take game 1 of the NBA Finals.
I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Sports Center, LeBron and Mark playing nice for a change.
George Hill said yesterday that for him, Game 1 was the toughest loss in his entire career. How can you as a leader help lift a player like that who maybe hasn't been through it before?
Well, we both went through some of the same, emotions. It's one of the toughest losses I've had in my career as well, just because everything that kind of went on with the game and the way we played, and obviously we all know what happened in the game. So it was a tough 24 hours, not only for G Hill but for myself, for our whole ball club, because we put ourselves in a great position to be successful. But like I said, give yourself a day. If you need to take 2 days, okay, but today you should feel excited about the opportunity to be better and be great, and move forward.
So you heard LeBron say the tough 24 hours. That's where I want to start tonight with our NBA insider, Brian Windhorst. Are the Cavs now moving ahead, focusing more on strategy for Game 2, Bri, or still the remnants of getting over the defeat from Game 1?
Zubin, they're really trying to still get over it. If you really watch the footage, and I went back and did, of the huddle at the end of the fourth quarter after the J.R. Smith blunder, it was a difficult moment for the Cavs. They were looking to LeBron to lead for leadership, and LeBron was really upset. And maybe they would have lost either way, but I don't think that they rallied out of that huddle the way that they needed to compete in that overtime. What's got to be different in Game 2, and what the Cavs are trying to get to, is to be different coming into the Game 2, as opposed to the way they were coming out of that huddle. And that's what they've been focusing on. They tried to take their mind off it with an easy day yesterday, no formal practice. Today they had a film session that they tried to start turning the page on, looking to strategy. But as you could hear from LeBron there, it's still something they're talking about quite a bit.
No question. You did mention some of the focus here on Game 2, so let's look ahead, even though they're continually looking back and trying to get over it. What are some of the things when we get to tomorrow night that they're going to have to do, focusing on the floor for Game 2?
Yeah, so one of the things that they're going to come out and try to do a little bit better is, get off to a better start defensively, which is always a big focus on them. They let Steph Curry get going early in that game, and that's always something that you don't want to do. But also they want to find a way to get better also in transition defense. The Warriors were able to get out and press in transition. The Cavs did very well on the boards in the game, but part of the reason is they weren't getting back on defense, so that's also going to be a factor. The Cavs went over those techniques behind the inside Oracle Arena in their practice this afternoon.
No question, and we should mention, I think, for a lot of Cavs fans out there, if you're wondering, the officials for an NBA Finals game are usually posted about 9 a.m. local time the day of the game. No explanation needed exactly on why we're mentioning that. I'm sure Brian will keep his eye on that, and so will Cavs Nation. We'll see Brian Windhorst tomorrow night with Van Pelt after the game with the greatest post-game.
Brings it back out. You get the feeling J.R. Smith thought they had the lead. He didn't know the score.
He thought it was over.
No, I knew we were tired. It's just I thought we was going to call timeout because I got the rebound.
No, I don't know his state of mind.
Did you know if he knew the score?
From a soul-crushing defeat, an attempt to turn the tide.
George Hill said yesterday that for him, Game 1 was the toughest loss in his entire career. How can you as a leader help lift a player like that who maybe hasn't been through it before?
Well, we both went through some of the same, emotions. It's one of the toughest losses I've had in my career as well, just because everything that kind of went on with the game and the way we played, and obviously I mean, we all know what happened in the game, so it was a tough 24 hours, not only for G Hill, but for myself, for our whole ball club, because we put ourselves in a great position to be successful. But like I said, you give yourself a day. If you need to take 2 days, okay. But today you should feel excited about the opportunity to be better and be great. One thing about JR, he has an uncanny ability to bounce back. And I think people have seen that, throughout our postseason runs where, he hasn't played well or played to his ability that he thinks he should have played. And then, the next game he comes out and shoots the ball extremely well and just very locked in. And, for me, I don't think I need to say anything to JR. I mean, I've been knowing JR since he was in high school. I mean, it's not like he's a new teammate of mine or someone I just met. JR knows what I expect out of him, and he expects things out of me, and we just try to go get it done.
Indeed, there is the case of the man who launched 1,000 memes. In one 4-second span, J.R. Smith's actions proved more indefensible than LeBron James. And might I remind you, LeBron scored 51 in Game 1. Following the game, Smith insisted he knew the score was tied, a claim substantiated by neither his coach nor the rest of planet Earth. Did one Cavalier play by one Cavalier cost Cleveland a series lead, possibly the series? Possibly. Saturday, that one Cavalier had a bit of a different story.
Do you remember what you at the end of regulation? The video where you said, I thought we were ahead. I might have said that. I'm not sure, but I might have.
Can you say that you weren't sure exactly what the score was?
After thinking about it a lot, obviously the last 24 hours or however minutes since the game was over, I can't say I was sure of anything at that point. So, no.
Of course, none of this would have been an issue had George Hill simply made his second free throw. Instead, Hill's miss led to JR's blunder, which led to the Dubs stealing Game 1, which led to Hill Saturday recounting the plot from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
You gotta forget about it. It's gone. There's nothing we can do about it now unless someone has a time chamber. I'm sure you let us in there so we can go back and maybe I hit my free throw if you guys have a time chamber or something. But other than that, I have to forget about it.
Gotta move on. Game 2's coming up. And ahead, our NBA Finals coverage continues. Will the Warriors have their big 3 for Game 2? Hear from Klay Thompson on his status for Sunday. That's ahead on SportsCenter.